Hi everyone, welcome back to the Killingly Public Library. We've been having lots of fun with plants over the past few weeks. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about hummingbirds. There'll be a few plants mentioned, but I figured I could squeeze this in because hummingbirds come to your gardens. We're going to talk about a few plants, how to attract hummingbirds, how to make nectar for them to drink, and we're going to try to make a little simple hummingbird feeder. The hummingbird that we have here in Connecticut is the ruby-throated hummingbird. They live from Canada to Mexico. They migrate back to Mexico every fall. They arrive here around April and they leave here by October usually. I always put my hummingbird feeders out on April 15th because I can remember that date because it's tax day, and within a few days I always see hummingbirds. A few of the hummingbird facts that I find really fascinating. They fly 500 miles nonstop over the Gulf of Mexico when they're migrating. And they can fly 25 miles an hour. And they can go faster if they have a tailwind. They can fly up, down, this way, that way. They can fly upside down. And they can't walk or hop though. Their little feet and legs are very weak. They can just perch with their feet. They've learned how to do everything else by flying around. They can eat up to 2 times their body weight in food and nectar every day. I found some sources that said they ate more, but 2 times seems enough for me. They drink the nectar from flowers for energy, which they use constantly, and then they eat little insects to get some protein. And I once watched a hummingbird gently plucking insects out of a spider web. It was a really fascinating little thing to see. Let's see. Oh, their tongues extend out of their bills the same length as their bill. So if they have a bill that's about 1 inch long, their tongue will come out another inch to insert into the flower to get the nectar. Their heart beats between 500 and 1200 beats per minute. I had to double check that because it seems so extraordinary. When they're at rest, it's 500, and when they're flying, it's 1200. And the nighttime, they can't go out and eat, so they have no energy. They go into what is called torpor, which if the torpor lasted longer, it would be called hibernation. Their body temperature drops down to maybe even 50 degrees, depending on the outside temperature. And their heartbeats drop down also close to 50 beats per minute. And this is all done to save energy. They wouldn't live through the night if they had their metabolism ramped up all the way. And they do make a little sound. I hear them sometimes before I see them. It's like a chee-chee, chee-chee, chee-chee. It's very high pitched, but it's cute. So listen for that when you're in your garden. We have several books here at the library on hummingbirds. We have this gorgeous book. It's lots of beautiful, beautiful pictures. And I hope you can see it from here. Mm-hmm. Every page is, you can just lose yourself. These little creatures, they're so elaborate and jewel-like. You see that? They like red flowers. Keep that in mind. So hopefully you'll come back to the library soon and take a look at this book. We also have the Birds and Blooms magazine that we get periodically. Once a year, they have a whole issue devoted to hummingbirds. It's a really pretty little magazine to look through. We have a couple books here. Hummingbird Gardens. Hummingbird Gardens. I'll read you a few of the plants that they say will attract hummingbirds. Bee balm, butterfly weed, cardinal flower, coral bells, bleeding heart, fuchsias, jewelweed nasturtium, red morning glory, scarlet runner bean, scarlet sage, wild columbine, trumpet creeper, and also the little blossoms on hosta lilies. If you noticed, I've realized that most of these flowers are red, and most of them have like a tube-like structure, and some of them hang down like this. So those are the types of plants that you want to get into your garden to attract the hummingbirds. You can also attract hummingbirds with a hummingbird feeder. This is a little one. I like the little ones because if you leave the hummingbird, if you had a huge feeder, filled it with feed, by the time the birds finished it, it will not be good for them. If it's left in the sunlight, it'll ferment and it could grow mold, and that would not be good. This is a little bee guard. Bees like the nectar too. And hummingbirds and bees don't like each other. Here's a little one you can suction onto your window. I have not tried this kind. The reason I got it is because you can take that off, and supposedly you can train hummingbirds to come and eat from your hand. I've had titmouses eat seeds from my hand, so I'm going to try this summer. This is an ant moat. This goes like this, because ants will crawl down here, go right in here, go inside and make a mess. Fill this with water. It can't cross the water moat, and you've got rid of your ant problem if you have one. You don't have to buy nectar to feed your hummingbirds. You can make a nectar at home out of water and white sugar. Don't use honey. Honey is not good for the hummingbirds. It tends to grow a fungus. It could make them sick. The ratio you want is 1 sugar, 4 water. So 1 cup sugar, 4 cups water. I don't want to make that much. So I'm cut it down to 1 cup sugar and 1 cup. 1 cup water, 1/4 cup sugar. Measured out. In it goes. Into the microwave. We want to boil this. That'll help if there's any bacteria, which there shouldn't be. It'll get rid of it for you. So into the microwave till it boils. Ding! There it is. Now I can keep this in the fridge for 2 weeks. So you can make up a bunch of it, have it all ready to go. The sugar would have dissolved if we had a real microwave here. I've got my little label that I made up. It says Hummer Food and today's date. That goes there and into the fridge. The last thing here is to make a little hummingbird feeder. You will need a little jar. I like these little plastic spice jars. They're nice and light. You can use a baby food jar, anything. You can use something bigger, but I like it to be light so that I don't need to have a huge amount of strong wire to keep it suspended. And we need some wire. And you'll need a hammer, wire cutter, maybe some pliers, a nail to make the hole for the nectar to come out, for the bird to put its little tongue in, and possibly a little bit of sandpaper or an emery board. So, I'm going to make the hole. The hole should be between 1/8 and 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch in diameter. I only have a little nail today. It's not quite big enough. I'm going to go right in the center. I'm just going to do 1 hole. You could do 2 or 3. Notice that I had something underneath my lid. Okay, it's in there. It's coming out. It's got a little hole. I know you can't see this, but it's too little I had the proper size nail, you need a fairly large nail. So that goes back on here. Make sure you wash out your jar beforehand. Then I have all my little tools. Every woman should have her own tool kit that her husband or significant other has no access to. Cut off some wire. Cut off more than I need. You know, this is probably be about a foot or more. Yep. Now wrap it around underneath the lid. You want to have one long end, one short end. This is going to be the hanger. Twisting that together. Up here, make a loop. Twist that together. There you have your little hummingbird feeder. You could get so creative with this. I consider this a prototype. It will work. But you could color the sides, you could catch little flowers, you could put little beads or baubles, you could do spirals with the wire. You could really let your creative mind get out of control on this type of thing. So I fill it up, hang it up, and the hummingbirds will come. Let's see, do I have anything else? Oh, I forgot to tell you. When you pound your nail through here, you might have a rough edge. Just take a little piece of sandpaper or an emery board and smooth it off. Okay. Just a little tidbit here. You know how they say, is it like a pack of dogs or a murder of crows? But the term for a group of hummingbirds is a charm of hummingbirds. This will probably be my last video for the Gretchen's Gardening series. I had some fun, and I want to thank my colleague, Allison, the children's librarian. She's been so helpful, and I couldn't have done it without her. She's the videographer for this segment and all the other gardening segments. And I also want to thank Kathleen, our reference librarian. She's been an inspiration and a comfort to me here during the shutdown. She's been doing book talks, videos, and I hope you've been getting some inspiration from her talks also. I hope to see you all soon, and in the meantime, remember to have fun with your plants.